Etched into the arid soil of Peru's desert lies a mystery that literally defies human logic. Massive, miles-long lines and perfectly drawn animals, birds, and strange humanoids. But here's the truly mind-blowing part. These drawings are so absolutely enormous, you can't even see them from the ground. They can only be fully viewed from high up in the sky. Built over 2,000 years ago, it begs the ultimate question. How on earth did an ancient civilization construct mathematically perfect aerial art way before the invention of airplanes, drones, or hot air balloons? Were they creating a giant astronomical calendar, using some lost ancient technology? Or were these lines actually designed as landing runways for ancient aliens? Today on Global 19, in this explainer, we are looking deep into the Earth to decode the world's most terrifying cosmic puzzle. Okay, let's just dive right into this. We are not talking about some tiny little sketches in the sand here. We're talking about lines that stretch for miles and stay dead straight no matter the terrain. We have these flawless animal drawings like monkeys, hummingbirds, massive spiders, and these kind of unsettling humanoid figures. But the most staggering part, the thing that just messes with your head, is that they're only visible from above. If you were walking right over that giant spider, you wouldn't even know it. You just see a shallow trench in the dirt. You literally need an aerial perspective to comprehend the full image, making their very existence this profound, massive paradox. Now, I want you to consider the sheer weight of this number, 2,000. These mathematically perfect aerial artworks haven't just been drawn recently. No, they have somehow survived out there in the dirt for 2 millennia. I mean, think about it. Imagine drawing a stick figure in the dirt outside your house today and expecting it to still be there in the year 4024. Yeah, good luck with that. To have something so delicate survive for 2,000 years completely uninterrupted, it absolutely challenges our entire understanding of ancient preservation.
Section 1. The Phenomenon.
To actually understand this mystery, we kind of need to treat the desert like a giant crime scene and look closely at the physical evidence. The creation process? Actually, it was surprisingly straightforward, though it required some absolutely back-breaking physical labor. Step 1, the Nazca people meticulously removed the top layer of these reddish-brown iron oxide-coated pebbles. Step 2, doing this revealed the starkly contrasting light-colored sand right underneath. They were essentially using the earth itself as a massive scratchboard. And then, step 3, which perfectly answers our 2,000-year survival question, the Nazca Desert is uniquely windless and literally bone dry. It almost never rains there, so it acts like a giant natural museum display case that locked these geoglyphs into the landscape for eternity. Section 2. The Aerial Dilemma. So while we know exactly how they scraped the dirt, the spatial logic of it all simply doesn't add up. And this brings us to the core paradox of our whole explainer. How do you draw what you cannot see? The source material makes it totally clear that the Nazca people had no aviation technology whatsoever. None. Yet they flawlessly proportioned incredibly complex shapes. Just look at the sweeping curves of the monkey's tail, or the absolutely perfect symmetry of the hummingbird. If you make a mistake on a drawing that's hundreds of feet wide, well, you wouldn't even know until you stepped way, way back, or in this case, flew 1,000 feet up into the air. And you know, the mystery only deepens when we look at this vital number right here, 100. This refers specifically to that really unsettling astronaut figure etched right into the side of a hill. This figure alone is 100 feet tall. If you're standing at its base, you'd only see a series of disconnected, pale trenches. But when viewed from the sky, it suddenly becomes a distinctly humanoid figure with large eyes and this bulbous head staring directly up at the heavens. A 100-foot-tall figure like that practically demands an aerial audience. So who exactly were they drawing this for? Section 3. Runways for the Gods. This lingering question of who was watching from above naturally leads us to Erich von Däniken's massively influential book, Chariots of the Gods. He proposed a really wild idea, that these miles-long straight lines were actually cosmic infrastructure, landing strips for ancient alien spaceships, and all those complex animal symbols, well, according to him, those were signals to extraterrestrials in the sky. So following this theory, the Nazca people either witnessed otherworldly visitors and built these to beckon them back, or maybe the visitors themselves directed the construction. It directly answers the whole aerial audience problem by suggesting that, hey, maybe the audience wasn't human at all. Section 4. The Scientific Reality. But let's bring in the forensic experts here, the archaeologists, to look at the actual history. On one hand, we have von Daniken's alien runways. But on the other, we have a truly groundbreaking counter-theory from mathematician and archaeologist Maria Reich.
She spent her entire life studying these lines and proposed that this was a massive, landscape-scale astronomical calendar. She actually mapped out how certain lines perfectly aligned with the solstices and how specific animal shapes correlated with star constellations. To Reich, the Nazca Desert was basically a giant terrestrial mirror of the night sky. As research evolved over the decades, however, the focus shifted from the stars back down to the harsh realities of the Earth. Today, the modern consensus among archaeologists largely agrees that the key to understanding the Nazca Lines isn't hiding up in the sky at all. Actually, scratch that. It's right there in the bone-dry dirt. It all comes down to one absolutely crucial thing: basic survival. You see, researchers now believe these lines weren't just meant to be looked at. They were actually meant to be walked on as sacred pathways during ritual processions. And what exactly were they praying for as they walked? Well, the shapes of the geoglyphs, which are often animals associated with water and fertility, strongly indicate they were purposefully designed to pray for rain. And honestly, this makes perfect sense when you realize these massive undertakings were essentially desperate calls for water in a landscape that receives almost zero rainfall. They weren't signaling aliens, guys. They were crying out to the natural world for the exact thing they needed to stay alive: water. So when you strip away the science fiction and really look at the archaeological facts, the true story of Nazca is almost more staggering than the myths. It leaves us with this incredible, lingering question. Is human desperation and ingenuity the most powerful force on Earth? I mean, just to survive in one of the harshest environments imaginable, an ancient people organized, calculated, and moved thousands of tons of rock to turn their desert into a massive, miles-wide canvas of prayer. It is an absolute testament to the sheer lengths humanity will go to in order to survive. Take this question with you, let it sink in, and keep exploring.